Unto the will I cry, O Lord, my rock, be not silent to me. Lest, if thou be silent to me, I become like them that go down into the pit. Hear the voice of my supplications, when I cry unto thee, when I lift up my hands toward thy holy oracle. Draw me not away with the wicked, and with the workers of iniquity, which speak peace to their neighbors, but mischief is in their hearts. Give them according to their deeds, and according to the wickedness of their endeavors. Give them after the work of their hands. Render to them their desert, because they regard not the works of the Lord, nor the operation of his hands. He shall destroy them, and not build them up. Blessed be the Lord, because he hath heard the voice of my supplications. The Lord is my strength, and my shield. My heart trusted in him, and I am helped. Therefore my heart greatly rejoiced, and with my song will I praise him. The Lord is their strength, and he is the saving strength of his anointed. Save thy people, and bless thine inheritance. Feed them also, and lift them up forever. Psalm 28 is a raw, honest, and beautiful journey from deep anguish to unshakable praise. David begins by crying out to God, begging not to be ignored. He fears being dragged away with the wicked, yet by the end of the psalm, he is filled with joy, strength, and thanksgiving. In this meditation and teaching, we'll walk verse by verse through Psalm 28 and uncover powerful truths about how to pray in pain, trust God's justice, and live in gratitude for his faithful deliverance. To you, Lord, I call. You are my rock. Do not turn a deaf ear to me. David opens this psalm with desperation. He's not offering religious pleasantries. He's pleading for God to hear him. You are my rock acknowledges that God is his only foundation. Yet David fears silence. Have you ever prayed and wondered if heaven was listening? David understands. His greatest fear is not the enemy, it's being abandoned by God. This opening prayer teaches us to come to God honestly, boldly, and desperately. For if you remain silent, I will be like those who go down to the pit. David links God's silence to spiritual death. The pit refers to Sheol, a place of separation from God. He knows that without God's voice, there is no hope. This shows how dependent David is not just on God's blessings, but on his presence and communication. In our own lives, this reminds us that hearing from God through prayer, the Word, or his Spirit is essential for life and hope. Hear my cry for mercy, as I call to you for help, as I lift up my hands toward your most holy place. Here, David is not just crying out, he's lifting his hands in physical surrender. The most holy place refers to the inner sanctuary of God's presence. He knows where his help comes from. Lifting hands is a sign of both surrender and expectation. David longs not just for rescue, but for God himself. This verse teaches us how to pray with the whole self, mind, heart, and body. Do not drag me away with the wicked, with those who do evil. David draws a sharp contrast between himself and the wicked. He prays to be counted among the righteous, not the deceivers. The wicked speak peace, but harbor evil. This verse reminds us that God sees the heart, and justice will ultimately separate good from evil. David's plea is not self-righteous. It's a call for justice and spiritual discernment. He doesn't want to share in the judgment meant for hypocrites. Repay them for their deeds and for their evil. David prays boldly for divine justice. He asks God to repay the wicked according to their actions, not out of revenge, but because they reject God's ways. They have no regard for the deeds of the Lord. This reminds us that God is not just loving, he is also just. True worship involves desiring justice and righteousness in the world. David places judgment where it belongs, in God's hands. Praise be to the Lord, for he has heard my cry for mercy. Suddenly, the tone of the psalm shifts. From pleading to praising. David senses that God has heard him. His prayer has turned into praise. What changed? Nothing outward yet. David's faith has found rest. Even before seeing results, he worships. This is a key lesson. We can praise in advance, knowing that God has heard and will act. The Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusts in him, and he helps me. Now David is overflowing with confidence. God is not only his protector, but also his source of inner strength. His heart trusts, and the result is help. Trust comes first, then comes the help. This is a biblical pattern. David rejoices because his heart is secure in God's faithfulness. This verse is a powerful declaration for anyone who feels weak. God strengthens those who trust first, not last. My heart leaps for joy, and with my song, I pray. David doesn't just thank God in thought, he expresses it in song. Gratitude moves the heart to music. Praise isn't just a private emotion, it's a public declaration of God's goodness. Whether you're in your room or gathered in church, your song becomes a testimony of trust. The Lord is the strength of his people, a fortress of salvation for his anointed one. Save your people and bless your inheritance. Be their shepherd and carry them forever. David ends with intercession. He shifts from his personal needs to a prayer for the nation. He recognizes God as the shepherd who carries his people. This foreshadows Jesus, the Good Shepherd. David asks for salvation, blessing, and divine care. Psalm 28 begins in fear, but it ends in faith, worship, and intercession for others. That is the journey of a mature believer.